Alright guys, welcome back to the DoD podcast, and welcome to my list of my favorite horror movie protagonists. Now, why did I pick this topic? Really, I knew I was hitting you guys with 2 podcasts in a row. I'm not saying podcasts aren't as good as movie reviews, vice versa, but I know it's a little bit of a change, so I wanted to pick a topic that I don't really see covered a whole lot. When you listen to a lot of horror movie podcasts, at least from what I've listened to, it's a lot of, top 10 80s horror films, or top 10 horror films in general, top 10 fucking horror movie kills, top 10 horror villains. I'm not bad-mouthing those podcasts or anyone who chooses to talk about those things. I'm more than likely going to be talking about those things myself at some point, but I was like, okay, I want to pick something that I don't see a whole lot. And I went with motherfucking Protagonists. Let's talk about the good guys, baby, I thought that... Oh, excuse me. Woo! I'm always gassy. In and out. Moving on. But no, man, I figured I wanted to talk about something a little not a little interesting. I wanted to talk about something unique, and I figured let's give the good guys their time of day. And let's talk about some of the best protagonists, because to me, a horror movie, the lifeblood of any horror movie is the villain or the antagonist. That is 100% true. I absolutely believe that. If you have a bad antagonist, you have a bad horror movie. However, in my opinion, what separates a good horror movie from a great horror movie is the protagonist. Let's look at the Friday the 13th series. I often pick on that series, and for anyone who's a fanboy of Friday the 13th, don't fucking worry, I am too. I constantly cite it as my favorite horror film series, just from a nostalgic standpoint. But I can acknowledge that not a lot of those movies have very compelling protagonists. It is very much so the Jason Voorhees show, no doubt about it. So I wanted to, I looked back and I was like, okay, well, there are a couple that do have compelling protagonists. I think of Part 4 and Part 6, namely. But, there are bright spots. But for the most part, that's the Jason Voorhees show. I still consider a good amount of the Friday the 13th films good horror movies. But going back to what I'm saying, I look at a film like, we'll just spoil one. One that's going to be on the... Actually, no. We won't spoil anything on the list, because I'm remembering one that I didn't put on the list. I'm kind of regretting it now, but you know what? We're just going to go ahead and shoehorn this in. We look at Helen Lyle from Candyman. That's a compelling character. That is someone you root for throughout the movie. The way that character is written and performed. To me, she is just as important a part of Candyman as Tony Todd, as the Candyman. I think if you just half-ass that character, it doesn't come off nearly as well. It's all about that conflict between good guy and bad guy. That's with pretty much any entertainment medium, especially in horror. It separates the good from the great. That's what protagonists do for me. And yeah, man, so I put together a little list here. I don't know how long this podcast is going to be. I'm hoping I can at least hit the 40-minute mark, But I wanted to just pop up here real quick and talk about and acknowledge the good guys a little, man. So I have a list here. We have 5 names that I think are fucking awesome. So, yeah, moving on. I'm going to stop rambling. I just kind of sat down and I just let the first 5 that popped into my head, and that's how I made my list. There'll definitely be a part 2 to this list at some time, if you guys like this. But yeah, moving on. So, number 1, and this is in no particular order, by the way. I just wrote them down how I wrote them down. So, but anyways, so we have Ben from Night of the Living Dead. So the deal with Ben, and I've talked about the cultural significance of George Romero casting a black man in that role, and him saying that it doesn't even fucking matter that he's black. He came in, he read the lines the best out of anyone we saw that day, so we fucking casted him. And I think that speaks volumes to the character of George Romero and the talent of Dwayne Jones, because he's to break those barriers at a time, 1968, that was not easy to say the very fucking least. But I talked all about that. But the character himself, I think, is highly, highly underrated. I do hear people talk about, protagonists, mostly final girls. People don't talk about fucking Ben enough, man. I really, really think this guy has a lot going for him in this movie. Obviously, it doesn't end very well for him, but, I look at that character, every time I watch it, he is the source of reason amongst chaos, He's the only one who seems to really be thinking clearly. Not everyone's just totally delirious. I mean, some are. Barbara's just done. But something about Ben, he's very level-headed. He's very, very, very into the idea of living through this, which is understandable. But yeah, man, I think Ben's a really, really natural leader. I think that character is a good source of strength. Does not fuck around, man. He, at the first sign of that one bald dickhead, the dad, at the first sign of him even not caring about human life and Ben's life, Ben knocks his shit in, dude. He beats the shit out of that guy. And I really, 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 really enjoy that character and how he's portrayed in the film. And a heartbreaking ending too, man. Like, oh my god. It snatches your soul, dude. It really does. You think, oh my god, this guy's alive. He made it through it. Everyone else is fucking dead. And then those fucking cops come through, man. Are they even cops? Like, I watch that movie sometimes, and I'm sure some of them are. Like, I know, like, the lead guy is probably, like, the sheriff or some shit. But, like, are all of those fucking guys cops? I kind of doubt it. But anyways, man, so he's happy to be alive, and then sure enough, man, fucking boom. Just shot right between the eyes. They see him through the window. They think he's a zombie. And they just blow him away, man. It's fucking heartbreaking shit, dude. But still, nonetheless, a fucking amazing character. Definitely left a legacy. Rest well, Dwayne Jones. But we move on from him to Ellen Ripley. And you can call me a little biased because I am currently running through the Alien series. I've already finished the good Alien movies, and now, stay tuned. We will absolutely be getting into Alien 3 next week. And I got some things to say about that movie. But anyways, so the character of Ellen Ripley. I have a frog in my throat. 1 second. Alright, cool. But no, the character of Ellen Ripley in Alien and Aliens, fuck, man. Like, the first true female badass of horror, in my opinion. I'm sure someone can get in the comments and be like, oh, well, actually, blah, 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 blah. And, I wouldn't even necessarily say that I don't agree with that person. But to me, the first, stand out badass motherfucker who just happens to have a vagina is Ellen Ripley. No doubt in my mind. She fucking rules. Genuinely one of just my favorite horror characters in general. Not even protagonists, not female protagonists. One of my favorite fucking characters. To me, what's so compelling about that character, at least in the first two, is that it's very clear that she's afraid. Like, there's no real... There's no real debate about that. She is absolutely terrified. Oh my god, I keep burping like a motherfucker. Professional podcast, baby. You gotta love it. But it's very clear that she's afraid. It is very clear that she is not having a good time. She's not some impenetrable and just untouchable fucking badass. That is not who Ellen Ripley is. She is very, very, very human. But what I like is that she's not a coward. You know, she dives headfirst in both of these situations. She doesn't die. It's not like she was wanting to get into these situations. But when she's in them, and especially in Aliens, when she has something to fight for in Newt, it doesn't matter that she's afraid. She's gonna nut up and get the fuck in there and get the job done. And I'm telling you right now, dude, like, we all love the Alien. Like, the look of the Alien, just how that thing, you know, crawls around, and just the overall design and concept with the face huggers and all that shit. It's a fucking brilliant, brilliant horror movie creature. But if you take yourself out of a... what am I trying to say? If you take yourself out of the shoes of an audience member, and you actually try and think about what that situation would be like, I'm telling you right now, man, unless it's like my family or some shit, I'm heading for the fucking hills. Like, oh my god, dude, it's literally one of the most terrifying concepts in horror ever. Like, ever, in my opinion. Fucking love Alien. But moving on. But yeah, man, she's faced with that dilemma. She's like, oh my god, there's a very, very good chance I could die right now. But I gotta save that little girl. And I love the relationship between her and Newt. The fact that, you know, she wakes up 57 years later, I believe it is. Yeah, about 57 years. Yeah, I think I'm right. Anyways, she wakes up all these years later and she finds out that her daughter has lived her entire life and has died. And she was like 2 years too late. And I'm like, oh my god. And it's heartbreaking. And like, to see that character go through it in Aliens so quickly. Like, right after, I mean, to her, like, she fell asleep after Alien. She's waking up and is just now discovering all of this. So when you sleep, it doesn't feel like 8 hours. It doesn't feel like 6 hours. It feels like you were asleep for fucking 30 minutes, if that. So all this is happening very fast for her. And when she meets Newt, suddenly it's a new lease on life. Suddenly, it's not just about, you know, her running from the alien anymore. She has something to protect, and she kind of has the second chance to be a mother. You know, surrogate mother, but nonetheless. Did I say surrogate? Is that the proper use? Anyways. I'm smart, baby. I'm smart. Moving on. But I really like that relationship between those two. And then in Alien, the first Alien movie, obviously, she's very, very... She takes up the leader role very, very quickly. Especially after... what the fuck's his name? I can't remember his name. Holy shit. After the captain dies. She's very, very quick to take up that mantle. And she's kind of already doing it beforehand. You know, they're trying to get on the ship. She's like, no, we got to quarantine. And he just overrides her authority. And she's very much, again, much like Ben, she's very, very level-headed. And just overall a fucking really, really good character. Love Ellen Ripley. And then we move on from Alien to Predator. In the rare instances that I hear people talk about cool horror movie protagonists, I don't hear people talk about Dutch enough. You know, and hey, I'm biased. I'm sure you could say that. I'm a fucking Predator fanboy. I love the lore of the creature and all that shit. But to me, again, it's one of those movies where if you just have some generic army fucking guy that's just a grunt, it's not gonna work as well, man. And what I love about Dutch is that he's very vulnerable. You know, he's obviously a very tough, gruff, badass man. There's no questioning that. But what's compelling about him is that the fact that he is humbled very, very quickly. Him and all of his team. But what separates him from the rest is obviously, you know, they're all dead. But when he survives to the end of the movie, and he is just, you know, he already understands. It's like, okay, I am severely outmatched by this thing, being the Predator. I'm severely outmatched by this thing, and I need to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do. And with that comes him being extremely resourceful, and somehow, he defies all the odds and comes out on top. Babyface 101, baby. Dude, Dutch is fucking awesome. To me, it's hard to beat a character like Dutch, and it's hard to, try and replicate that. And they've tried it before with Danny Glover and Adrian Brody, and both of those characters I fucking adore, by the way. As we've already mentioned, and will mention with the ongoing Alien and Predator series. But to me, man, Arnie just fucking does it better than any of them. I think his performance is great, and again, man, just being able to overcome pretty much insurmountable, we'll go with it, impossible odds, to me, that makes that character so fucking cool. But yeah, man, and also, before I move on from Dutch, obviously, just super fucking entertaining. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Quote City, baby. Dylan, you son of a bitch! All that stuff. I'm sure I blended Kermit the Frog with Arnold Schwarzenegger there. But yeah, man. Fucking love Arnold. And I love Dutch, too. And I love The Predator. Yeah. Not the movie The Predator. We'll get into that one day. Anyways, so then we move on from sci-fi horror back into traditional slashix. Shout out to Shudder for their slashix playlist of movies. That is now a regular word in my vocabulary. So thank you, Shudder. Please sponsor me. Moving on. Someone's gonna comment, "Oh, you're fucking shill. You're sucking Shudder's dick." Ugh. I'm really glad I don't actually have people like that on this page right now, because, oh my god, I would... We'll get them eventually, baby. It's going to be fun. But moving on. ADHD, you gotta love it. Moving on. We have A Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy Thompson. People talk about Final Girls a lot, and I'm big into Final Girls too, man. I don't... It doesn't sound weird, but it does. Moving on. I think having a really, really good final girl in a horror movie, again, it just like with any other protagonist, it really, really ties the movie together. And I think that's why I look at Ripley, and I don't really see her as a final girl. Because to me, you think of a final girl, and you're just... I think the stereotype is, they're weak and they aren't capable of doing anything, and Ripley is not that by any means. But I think that's kind of an egregious stereotype in general. I don't think that a lot of my favorite final girls are not like that at all. I look at the chick in Part 2 of Friday the 13th, whose name escapes me right now. She was a contender on this list, but, just a couple of people beat her out. I'm sure if we do another list of protagonists, she'll be on that. And yeah, man, and to me, one who really defies that stereotype is Nancy Thompson from Nightmare on Elm Street, man. I think what she brings to the table is, first of all, I love her arc in the original Nightmare movie, because you don't really think she's going to be the final girl or the protagonist or whatever you want to say. You don't really assume that of her. She is very much a background character. And then when Tina just gets fucking slaughtered in like the opening, I think probably 15 minutes, if that, of Nightmare on Elm Street, she is thrust into that position, and now she is watching all of her friends fucking die. She sees her boyfriend die, and now she has to she never chose this, but now she doesn't have a choice. She has to be this character. And I really don't think the character was all too thrilled with that, but here she is, and she gets it, man. She fucking ends Freddy Krueger for the time being. But she overcomes those odds and stops evil when really she was in no position to do so, you know. And that's a writing thing. But the character herself, I think, she has to really. You look at someone like Ripley, who's just a naturally strong person as a character, and then you look at Nancy Thompson, who really, really has to reach down into her gut in the original Nightmare movie and find that strength. And she does throughout the movie. And by the end, you know, she tells Freddy, she's like, "You're nothing, you're shit." And it puts him away, man, you know. I had my problems with the original Nightmare, but that's not one of them, dude. I think the conflict between Nancy Thompson and Freddy Krueger is one of the best of all time. And then I love the fact that she comes back in part 3, and she literally, now she is a naturally strong person. You know, this very, very insane, what's the word I'm looking for? This insane experience has really strengthened her as a human being to where when she notices that, hey, I mean, I think in 3 it's established she's studying like dreams and stuff like that in school. And she can see that these kids are experiencing the exact same thing she did, and she realizes Freddy is back, and she willingly throws herself back into that situation, and she fucking dies for it, man. You know, at the very end, she makes that ultimate sacrifice and does the big heroic thing. And I mean, she doesn't like willingly like kill herself or anything, but you know, it's a risk she knew. And the fact that she went out of her way and still did that and took that risk and ended up paying the price, to me, that makes an awesome heroic story, you know? Really, really, really loved the Nancy Thompson story from part 1 to part 3. Wasn't really in part 2, besides like the journal thing, but yeah, man, I fucking love Nancy Thompson. Also, shout out to Heather Langenkamp in... you know, who's playing herself in a New Nightmare, or Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Another fucking really, really cool performance. Really cool character. Obviously not Nancy Thompson, so that's why she's an honorable mention, but really like her too. Same actress, obviously. So, but yeah, Nancy Thompson for the win. And then we come to our final entry in this list. Again, I know I skipped over a lot of people. I think of like Heather Lyle and Candyman, and you know, the chick from Friday Part 2, and you know, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I know I skipped over a lot of really, really good protagonists. That's why, you know, long-term booking, baby. We can do another one of these someday. But for right now, obviously, I think everyone knows where I'm going with this. It's not gonna be a surprise. It's Halloween. I mean, I will say this though, it's a double header, because this is one of those movies that has not one but 2 fucking awesome protagonists. Let's start with Dr. Loomis, man. I think that character, he's a tragic figure, no doubt about it, because here's a guy who has given his life to psychiatric care, to helping kids who are not right in the fucking head, you know? And he is so defeated by Michael Myers. He's defeated before Michael ever breaks out of Smith's Grove. He is so rattled by the fact that he could not reach him. There was nothing that he could do to ever convince Michael to even show a shred of humanity. There was nothing. And I think the overall evil of Michael Myers really, really rattled Loomis to his core. And so what you get in Halloween 78 is not a man excuse me, not a man who is looking to help his patient. He is not looking to fix Michael Myers. He's looking to end Michael Myers because now he realizes, okay, this isn't a fucking game anymore. This guy is not. I mean, I don't think he ever looked at that like a game anyways, but he doesn't even acknowledge Michael as being human. Like, anytime he brings him up, he calls him the evil, and he calls him it. I don't think he ever, that's not true, he says it at the end. But, he very rarely refers to Michael Myers by his name. He's just so rattled by the pure evil that he has dealt with for all those years, and now he has to go out and stop him, which he fails in the end. In the end of the original Halloween, he does not succeed, and Michael's still out there, you know. And I look at Halloween when I watch it as a standalone film. Obviously, with the new canon and stuff, he later on gets arrested and all that jazz. But to me, man, that character of Dr. Loomis is just so fucking well done. And then we go from him to Laurie Strode. And with her, you know, Dr. Loomis has lost his innocence. He has been around pure evil in Michael Myers for years now. With Laurie, it is all just sprung on her immediately. Like, I mean, it's not, you know, the film is very patient, and her and Michael really don't touch. They don't touch at all until that final act. But Laurie's just relentlessly stalked by this serial killer, and she's not really sure what's going on. And then at the end of the movie, man, she just sees that all of her friends are fucking dead, and now this guy who you've been seeing through your window, like through your classroom window, and like in your backyard, and all this shit. Now this guy is coming for you, and he's gonna kill you, and it totally just shakes that woman to her core. And much like Nancy Thompson, you know, Laurie Strode is not... you know, if you're naturally strong and you're able to... Or if you're able to reach down and pull strength from under you, you're a naturally strong person. So I don't want to say she's not naturally strong. But she's not in any real position mentally to have that sort of mindset. You know, she's grown up in this nice, quiet, suburban little town in Illinois. She's not that type of person, and she's, much like Nancy Thompson, has been thrust into that role of having to immediately just switch it and become this... she's by no means a badass. She is very narrowly surviving what is happening to her. But she's able to thwart the evil long enough for Dr. Loomis to come in and shoot Michael 6 times. I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. But yeah, man. And then later on, I'm a new canon guy. I really, really enjoy the new movies. I think the direction they are going with the Michael character is really compelling. I like the idea that we just aren't going to know what the fuck this guy is, really. And I really, really hope they don't tell us, but this is not a Halloween Ends prediction video. This is a horror movie protagonist video. And we're talking about Laurie Strode now. Obviously, Loomis is dead. His story ends in Halloween 78. But with Laurie, now she's taken the opposite turn that Nancy Thompson did. Now she is a character who has been, in some ways, corrupted by the evil that she experienced. She's not... she's a good person. She loves her family, but her worldview and just how she behaves and how she acts and how she treats people and all of it, it's all rattled, man. It's all completely fucked up. Like, she does not look at the world like everybody else does. For the last 40 years, she was in this position where she was constantly on edge, constantly aware that, oh my God, he's still out there, he's still alive, we didn't kill him back in 1978, and now he could come for me at any moment. And she's under this delusion that Hollywood was under as well for a while, that Michael just wanted her. And that's not the case. Michael wants death. Michael wants to kill as many people as he possibly can. That is his goal in life, if you can even call what he has to be a life, but that is his mission. He is not in it for Lori. He's in it to kill. That's all he fucking cares about. And Lori has been completely struck with this idea that, oh my God, he wants me. He's going to kill me. Me. No, it's not the case at all. But I just love the fact that they portray her as being so broken by what happened to her. It's very realistic. And I hear some people say, oh, and they even said it in Halloween 2018. They're like, oh, well, he just killed a couple people. And I've ranted about that to no end, because people actually would say that. And I'm like, dude, if you like take yourself out of the movie aspect of this and you think about that, like, you'd be fucked up for life. There's no coming back from that for a lot of people. And I really, really like how the new movies are handling Lori. I'm really fascinated with how her arc ends in Halloween Ends. I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's gonna be really, really fucking cool. And yeah, dude. So that'll do it for motherfucking horror movie protagonists for now. Like I said, I know I could throw together another list, but those are my 5 favorites. 6, because I kind of threw in Dr. Loomis there as well. But yeah, man. And so that'll do it for now. Next time on Days of Darkness, get ready, because we're back to movie reviews, baby. And we are going to be talking about Alien 3. It's going to be fun. Yay! But anyways, guys, thank you as always for listening and watching and supporting and all of that good shit. Take care of each other. Keep watching horror, and you have a good rest of your motherfucking day. All right. Peace.